We've been through so much.
I think here, guys, let's all start over again. You know why?
This is our story of faith, hope, and the love of a family.
He has a plan far greater than any of ours. We'll see consolations along the way. We'll hear stories of people whose faith was inspired by the life of Fulton. We'll see in ourselves a deepening trust in God. But those don't answer that deepest question of why this happened. No, what does is the fact that God is with us. See on that holy card the beautiful image of Mary watching over him. We know in our hearts that God desired to be with him. Before you were in the womb, I knew you. God has a plan, and God is with us.
But praying with Elise so much over the last 9 months and sharing our story and sharing Fulton's story has meant, truly it's been a blessing. So many people have come forward and told us how Fulton brought them to prayer, brought them to God. There's been people that have said they've prayed for the first time in years because of his story and his life. And so what else could any parent ask for the life of their child, to bring people to the Lord?
Before this cross, we surrender our hearts. Miracle, miracle from the start.
We pray for Fulton, that he may be held securely in God's loving embrace, now and for all eternity. We pray to the Lord.
Fulton brings joy to our hearts, and he will always be part of our family.
After a medicine.
Your mind will open, that you will know hope, 'cause his love's like an endless ocean. The Sacred Heart is the boat.
Well, hello. This is Janet Morana. Welcome to Just Ask Janet. And what you just saw was a beautiful video that was put together by the Hood family. So many of you prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed for a miracle for our little baby Fulton. But unfortunately, that did not quite happen. And so joining me today, now that you saw that beautiful clip, which got me all teary-eyed, showed the family how they experienced this whole experience together with such faith. So joining me right now on the program is Royce and Elise Hood. Welcome to the program, guys.
Hi,
I'm like,
Janet.
you guys are killing me with that video. I mean, with the kids. I mean, when the kids carry the baby in a casket out like that. Oh my goodness. So, but for those who missed some of the story from the beginning, your baby had a very severe illness, and we knew he, short of a sheer miracle, he wouldn't live past maybe a few minutes after birth. They weren't even sure. But you carry little Fulton almost to your due date, right, Elise?
Yes, past my due
Past, I
date.
thought so.
Yeah.
Okay, how much past the due date until?
He was due March 31st, and I delivered him on April 2nd.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was the full 40 weeks.
The full 9 months. And
Yeah.
then wasn't it on that last visit that you discovered he had just passed? Tell us that
Yes.
story.
Well, so at 39 weeks, so during the entire process of the pregnancy, we were never able to obtain a really good ultrasound because he didn't have any amniotic fluid surrounding him. So at 39 weeks, we received we were able to capture the most amazing ultrasound, and it was as close to a 3D ultrasound that we were able to get during the entire pregnancy. And that's the ultrasound that has, the image has sort of gone viral, I guess you can say, where it looks as if Our Lady is standing over him and watching him in that ultrasound. And so about a few days later, and that was on, I think, a Thursday that we got that ultrasound. Middle of the following week, Elise sort of felt like something maybe was wrong. And so she went to her doctor.
There was a few days where I didn't feel like I felt those movements, and especially like after he was born, we knew that it was just his little hands that were moving, because I don't think he ever moved his legs. But so I would just feel those rare little punches at night when I would play his music for him. And there was a few nights in a row where I wasn't feeling that, which wasn't all that strange, because a lot of times I'd fall asleep when I was playing that music for him, so I wouldn't notice the punches. But the last couple of days I didn't feel them, and I started wondering, but trying not to worry at the same time. So I had an appointment already that week. So went into the appointment, and the doctor couldn't find the heartbeat. So that was really hard. So she couldn't find it with the little Doppler. So she said, why don't you call Royce, have him come, and we'll do a sonogram. So Royce came, and
the doctors confirmed our worst fear, and it looked as though, Fulton had passed away. And the interesting thing is I think that was like maybe Wednesday night or Thursday. We couldn't get a bed, and as fate would have it, Fulton ended up ultimately being born on Good Friday. I
feel like that was such a blessing, because so that was a Wednesday, and we went to the hospital to confirm that Fulton had passed away. So the doctor there said, I can just admit you now, and they would do the induction, or you can go home, kind of gather yourself, and then schedule the induction for whenever. And so we went home Wednesday and told the kids, and then I knew I wanted to go in as soon as possible. So we scheduled the induction for as early as they could on Thursday morning. And it was just felt like it was God's hand in that, because so it was scheduled Thursday morning, and they said, make sure you call before you come in, just to make sure everything's set. So Thursday morning, got all ready and called, and they said, oh, we've had some C-sections and just different emergencies. So let's push you back a couple hours. They said, call back in a couple hours. So we're so anxious, and we wait the couple hours, call back, same thing. We've had, just different things. This is kind of unusual, but different things have come up. I'm so sorry. And they knew our situation too, so I think they felt terrible, but there was just no beds. So same thing, a couple hours later, finally they got us in at like about 5 o'clock that night. So that was just the hardest waiting period. And I was getting very anxious and, kind of upset at the same time, very impatient. And it turned out to be such a blessing because Fulton ended up being born 12:50 after midnight. So he was born on Good Friday, and that I felt like was such a blessing because just the road that I felt like we were on, I felt like the Blessed Mother was such a comfort to me.
Of
Just in
course.
her, I related with her sorrows, and so that final delivering him holding him on Good Friday was very comforting.
So let's just talk about the children for a minute, because I know we have followed this whole case with you for months and months, and the kids were all involved. When you first told them that their little brother had passed, what were the kids' reactions? Because in the video, they were so strong. I mean, to his little ones there carrying his casket. I mean, I don't think I could have done that and held it together. I mean,
We had a lot of graces.
how did they cope how did they cope with all this news? And did they get to come to I think there was a picture of them in the hospital with you. Was that holding baby Fulton after he was delivered?
Yes. So when we told them, they were very upset. They were all crying and very sad, but they did have such a strength, honestly, throughout the whole journey. And it was nice to come home after that initial doctor appointment where they said that Fulton had passed away, because we got to talk to them and kind of prepare them for what the next day would be like when they would come. And so they, my family was here with them, and they have cousins and things. So it was good to kind of distract them a little bit. And then it was so early the next morning, and they were thankfully able to come. And my family brought all the kids, and they were honestly they were so excited to see him. And there were some tears, of course, too, but they were really just kind of oohing and eyeing over him. And just that they were so anxious to meet him, just like we were. And so I felt like they were very strong at the hospital. And I think it was the first couple weeks, I would say, were hard for the oldest ones. I could tell they wanted to be distracted, and so they would like to go to their cousin's house and play. But I think the fact that we were so open the whole time helped too, because then they would slowly open up to us and say, they had a lot of questions, and then would come with their own tears. And I feel like we've kind of just all worked through it together.
Yeah. And you know what? I think too, getting to see baby Fulton in the hospital, all of you like that together, that brought closure, because here all these months you prayed for this baby, and then what would you have done? Like, it all vanished? Oh, he died. Woof, gone. I mean, I remember as a child. Okay, my mom had a miscarriage at 6 months, and all of a sudden my mother had a big belly. And next thing, she had no big belly, and no one said anything. I didn't find out till I was like a teenager that I had a little brother, Peter, that died, miscarriage. And so I think, and I still feel like that. Why all that, so I think the way you did it, it's so beautiful, because the children, they really learned the dignity of life, and that we hold each life precious till the very, very end. And we give that baby dignity and a funeral and a proper burial. I mean, to me, it was beautiful. And when you think the culture of death we're in, most of the medical profession would have terminated little Fulton a long time ago, right? As soon as you found out that, that would have been, okay, this baby's not going to live. So they say termination. We know what that means. But then for that mother, her grief is double now, because she contributed to the death. Whereas in your case, at least, you nurtured little Fulton to the very end, and then you got to hold him. I mean, wouldn't you say that, that whole experience, while it was difficult and painful to say goodbye to baby Fulton, it was the most, you know, amazing thing that, that a mother could do, I think, right? To
Yeah.
journey with their child, right?
Yeah, I think you're so right, because then instead of those feelings of guilt and remorse, and even just if you're just questioning, you're either way, you're going to be grieving. And so now, of course, we just are focusing on mourning and grieving Fulton, but not having to deal with, like you said, you're going to have the double the grief, and you know have being upset with yourself. And
Yeah.
so yeah,
So,
I can imagine.
one question pops into my mind that I bet you the children asked: how come God didn't answer our prayers? I think that's a question that people ask all the time, like something serious like this. You pray for someone. I mean, right now, I know a lot of different people who has COVID, and actually, we just lost another little baby we all were praying for. Her name was Marigold. She was born, oh my gosh, 21, 22 weeks, and she survived for 6 months, but her lungs finally gave out. And here's that other thing, like, we were praying, everybody was praying, like everybody was praying for Archbishop Fulton for a miracle. So did the kids question that, and how did you work through that? Because as adults, I when I found out Fulton passed, I was like, why, God? Why couldn't you have done this? Why? So how did the kids deal with that why question?
Yeah, I'm sure Lisa has something to add to this, but I think Father O'Brien said it really well at the funeral. He was the priest that presided over the funeral for us. And we didn't get the miracle that we asked for, but we received the miracle that we needed, and really the miracle that Fulton needed. He had so many things beyond Potter syndrome that would have affected him, and all but would have guaranteed a very difficult and very short life. And he would have suffered, absent a complete miracle, a complete total healing, which we know is possible through God. But instead, at 39 weeks or thereabouts, he was taken from the womb straight to heaven. He didn't suffer one bit. All that Fulton ever experienced in his time here with us, in his life here with us, was love, being nurtured by his mother, the voices of his siblings. So I think the children understand, and Elisa said it well before, God had bigger plans for Fulton. His life he wasn't meant for this world. He was meant for something, I think, larger than that. And now we have our little intercessor in heaven, which is, on one hand, quite exciting as well, although it's, we wish he was here.
Well, and I also think, little Fulton is standing up for all those other babies in utero right now who might be in danger of termination, to show the parents, be not afraid, right? You can do this. Look at the Hood family. Look at how beautiful the experience was. Even though it's sad, it still was a beautiful, sad experience. Wouldn't you say, Elise, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And his life, to me, was such a beautiful life. He lived really such a perfect little life. He was, just like Roy said, so well, nurtured and cared for. He had lots of people praying for him. I think lots of friends. And, we believe Mary came and took him, and he was straight to Jesus's arms. And I mean, really, to me, that's just such a beautiful existence. And
That's right.
I think beyond that, like you said, if his story could help another little baby, in the womb, then, I think he's continuing his work, and God is working through him and through our story.
And I think now we're going to change the name now. It's not Baby Fulton, it's Angel Fulton, right? We now have a little Angel Fulton. And I will tell you that in my programming, whether it's this program or my Defending Life, we're going to keep having you back and telling this story, because too many couples are presented the dismal choice of termination, and they're frightened and they're scared. And to show your family how, you all surrounded Fulton with such love, but then you went through that sorrowful experience together. And I think it brought you closer as a family. This is what I could see. Now, just to show what a wonderful Catholic, faithful family you are. I know recently, Royce, if this wasn't enough, you had some challenges at work, didn't you?
Yeah, my career was definitely tested, and my faith has been challenged a lot over the last year. And as I get into as we get into that, one before I do, I think a lead in is one of the decisions we made with baby Fulton was to sort of surrender our passion and surrender our own desires at the foot of the cross and just fully trust in God. And that's after that test that we went through with Fulton. I was also tested with my career, my legal career. And for the past 3 years, I've been doing a lot of work in circuit court all across central Illinois. And I was shortly after Fulton passed, I was asked to be involved in a matter which was without getting into the details, was a name change matter on a gender issue that I thought about, I prayed about, and I just couldn't do it. It absolutely conflicted with everything that I believe as a practicing Catholic, especially as I even thought about as I was praying about my children and Fulton. Now I've got this little saint, little angel in heaven looking down. I've got these beautiful kids here. It's important to me to never have to explain to myself why I compromised my faith or did anything. So we literally walked away from a 6-figure income and prayed about it hard, but it became very apparent that my work in the secular space, at least for now, in circuit court, was coming to an end. And it was a tough decision, but it was the right decision. And so we've made some changes on our end, but I am focusing 100% now, all my work on working with groups that are charitable, that are Christian, pro-life, Catholic, groups that have a mission. And I'm just trusting in God's providence. It's going to be a difficult few months as we navigate the waters, sort of uncharted territory. But it was a tough decision, and we made it together. It wasn't a decision I made on my own.
Yeah, well, and this is very important because I think in the times we're in a lot of companies all across the country, if you're a believer, if you're Catholic, if you're Christian, our very faith is being put to the test on the job, where employers are trying to impose their will or the culture of death on us. And I think your example, I mean, you have all these kids, you just went through a whole experience with baby Fulton, and now to walk away from a secure job with great medical benefits. I mean, talk about stepping out in faith, Royce. But you're saying, though, that you're now finding other work. Do you think what they always say, if God closes one door, and if you allow yourself to accept that closed door, and like you did in faith, said, I'm not doing this, the door he's opening, are they working out? Like you're getting more opportunities to work with real good, solid Christians and pro-lifers?
Yeah,
Is that how
I've been blessed. I've been blessed for a long time in that, the work that I've been involved with I've been able to develop relationships with some big organizations, and I've had work with those organizations. So that has been unique. And so I do have some work that I'm able to do now with groups that I've worked with for quite a while, groups like the Thomas More Society and the March for Life and things like that. And so, but to answer your question, yeah, it'd be really easy to compromise your beliefs. And I talked to a few people professionally about, recusing an assignment on certain cases, and, it's just a name change, or it's just that, or it's just this other thing. It's not that big of a deal. You're not doing this, you're not doing that. But at the end of the day, and speaking with different priests and really just praying about it, became apparent that I think it's really increasingly difficult in this world to be authentic to your faith, and to resist the pressure to just sort of conform and go along with what everybody says is right. And we know that this world is upside down right now. Wrong is celebrated as right. Right is celebrated as wrong. 3-year-olds don't know not to stick their tongue out of their mouth. But,
well, you have to introduce us to your.
This is Leo. Leo, can you say hi? Hi, Janet.
You're gonna be shy.
Leo is a sweetheart. He's in that video, and he's just such a sweet kid.
So,
and Janet, to answer your question, I mean, we're well, obviously we're always looking for other work, but God is providing. And I think if I were going to give anybody advice, just trust, have faith. And when you're loyal to the Lord, when you're loyal to your faith, things work out every single time.
But I mean, I just can't imagine, at least when you both came to this decision together, did you cringe too, to say, oh my goodness, like, like,
yeah, it wasn't,
you know,
it was easy in a sense, because I think we both just felt so, we just said, you can't do that. Like we just knew. So that was easy. But then it was also like, oh my gosh, can it was hard. It was hard in that sense of losing, like you said, the security of, that job and the medical benefits. Of course, that's always, something to figure out. So it was scary, but like I said, it was easy in that we knew we wanted, we're thinking of our, eternal salvation, not
right.
just how we're doing
Not
here,
just, yeah.
So that, yeah.
So, Royce, have you set up a website for your family? I feel like because of Facebook, our program, Just Ask Janet, EWT, I know then EWTN had you on after I had you on. So you've gotten a lot of attention. Do you have a website where people can then see the whole baby Fulton story and the funeral and be in touch with you guys?
Yeah, we we do post regularly at fultonjoseph.com. So fultonjoseph.com, that link's at the bottom of the video that you played. And then I have a website, roycehood.com. I have my legal work, which is at missioncouncil.com. I have a few different websites, but with respect to Fulton and his story, and I post links on there to different music projects that I'm involved with. I've been really discerning this a music ministry with a few other people that I've met, where we're really feeling called to promote Catholic media and Catholic music and sort of try to change the culture, because law and politics is downstream of culture. So if that's what God wants us to do, we'll be doing that too. But Fulton Joseph is a great place for people to start, fultonjoseph.com.
And if we go to fultonjoseph.com, then can we link to yours, which is Royce Hood?
Yes, I do have links on there to my website. I also, that's also a link to the Law of Life Summit, which we put on every year in Washington, D.C. So it's got some links on there, and there's a screenshot of it now.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah, wait on that.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for joining us, and I'm going to just say something to our audience that I am going to have the Hood family back maybe in a couple of months. We're going to see how they're doing. We're going to see how Royce's career is going to blossom because of the Lord, because he stayed faithful. Because I think, guys, this is a great example for people who face these daily challenges, and sometimes they're afraid to step out in faith. And you've done such a marvelous job that I think it provides great inspiration to others who are kind of teeter-tottering. What should I do? So all the blessings, all right? And I'll be in touch, and we'll get you back in a few months to see how your career is blossoming. Okay, Royce?
Well, thank you, Jan. We'll look forward to updating everybody, and God bless you. And thank you to your viewers.
And bye,
for
Leo.
all of their prayers. Say bye, Leo.
Thank you.
You want us to have a closing remark, Leo? You want to say bye to the audience?
Who's that?
That looks like, is that Buzz Lightyear?
Janet, I want your viewers to know that we've been keeping all of your viewers and everyone who's been praying for us in our prayers also, for their intentions. So we're so grateful, because that's what's kept us strong. And so thank you.
Thank you too. God bless you, and we'll be back in touch, okay? All right. Well, brothers and sisters, I hope you found this an uplifting, like I said, it was a sad beginning, but an uplifting story and an inspiration to so many. And just keep in mind, brothers and sisters, you need to stand up for life, because there are some abortions only you can stop, and some lives only you can save. Join us again next time on Just Ask Janet.